It's time.
Bring the hot.
Here we go.
Cocktail show.
Get ready to have a good time.
Let's have a good time.
This is exciting, isn't
Oh, I like that.
Hello, testing.
Welcome aboard the Dreamliner.
It's the only way to fly.
Wow.
I've allotted 1 hour for recreational activity. There's no time for irrelevant conversation. Fun will now commence.
Cocktail show.
Gary.
Here's a young speaker who is really in demand.
Don't let that go to your head, Gary.
But wait, there's more.
That's what I'm talking about.
He is Garry Meier.
Snow.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Garry Meier Show, Cocktail Hour Live.
Cocktails. Woo, drinks.
We're streaming live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central.
On Friday, the 1st of December, 2023, the start of meteorological winter, and the start of another weekend full of celebrity birthdays, according to famousbirthdays.com. Today's celebrants include Zoe Kravitz, Sarah Silverman, Bette Midler, and the late great Richard Pryor. Birthdays tomorrow, December 2nd, include Britney Spears, Aaron Rodgers, Lucy Liu, and Dan Butler. And on Sunday, December 3rd, Ozzy Osbourne, Tiffany Haddish, Julianne Moore, and the late Andy Williams. This has been another celebrity birthday wrap-up for the GarrForce. Oh, wait a minute. Wikipedia says tomorrow is Gary's birthday. Happy birthday, Garry Meier. Now back to our regular programming.
The best way to watch this show is the GarrForce Live YouTube channel.
YouTube. Subscribe to the GarrForce Live YouTube channel.
More eyeballs. It's a good thing.
Please like and share the show on all the social media channels.
Comments during the live show, wherever we are streaming, can be seen in our virtual studio
We may show them on the screen.
and or talk about them.
Of course, no matter where you are, it's time for a digital mimosa.
And that's it.
Now, fasten your seatbelts. It's time to go wheels up on the GarrForce Live.
Live.
Here we go. Let's have a good time on America's podcast. Boom. Shakalaka.
Live. Welcome, everybody. Hey, thank you, Alan, and everybody in the comments section. Yeah, tomorrow, another one goes up in flames. They come around very quickly, don't they? After 50, they say it's like you're having breakfast every 15 minutes, and I concur. Okay, got a jam-packed show. As mentioned in the opening there, we got Will Lee. I love Will, and he hasn't been on in a while. I have a lot to talk about with him, and he's got to be out of here at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to get started. And the only way we can do that is to kick the tires and light the fires. Let's do that. One more sequence on the cocktail show, and that is Leslie has to remove her condom.
Finger guns for your birthday, Mr. Meier. I got a bottle of Oyster Bay Chardonnay here, another New Zealand favorite. Oh, yeah, I do this just about every week now. Got a little build-up here. And so,
Okay, 3,
protective
2,
lenses on. Hold on.
2.
We are always safe.
There it goes.
Oh,
wow. That's straight up, right?
Not as much lift as one would normally have, because we are all about honesty and integrity on this show.
Oh, yeah.
This is just a dummy bottle. It's a prop bottle of wine, because my actual wine has been decanted into a new present that I received from Tracy from Wisconsin, and it is a Pee-Pee Santa decanter. So we will try to.
Nice.
Okay, hang on. Let's see if I can do this without
fill her up.
Thank you, Santa. Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Wow.
He's getting older. It takes it.
Well, that's a good start. And cheers.
Thank you, Santa.
Cheers, everybody. Okay, gotta have a sip. Listen, if you want an excuse to drink, not that you need one, here it is. Everybody in Miracle on 34th Street is dead. The youngest people in that movie are also dead. The Dutch
Margaret
girl,
O'Brien.
The Dutch girl out of the orphanage, dead.
Oh, no.
The kid that's swept up at Macy's locker room there and said, Christmas is all commercialized, dead. They're all dead. Let's drink up. Okay, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you need an excuse? You got one. Okay, we are
Santa.
jam-packed. And there's,
Give me some
what's the cat's name?
Angus.
There's Angus. He's on
Angus
parole.
is here. For the
He's
show.
on parole
Here.
and patrol.
Come here. Do your cool thing. Show them.
Look at that. That's a nice trick. Reminds me of stupid human tricks, of which our next guest has witnessed many times in his career. Would you please welcome Will Lee? Hello, Will.
Greetings, guys.
Thanks
for
you guys joining us.
You guys are so festive. Happy almost birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm honored to have you on the day before my birthday because I really enjoy your company. And we were having a nice chat before we went on here live. And boy, you have a lot of visual stuff that I want to play with. And let's start with that it's not a bobblehead. It's some kind of figure that is a skeleton, or what was that?
Well, this was I don't really know anything about why anybody would get this, would see this through to completion, but somebody made this wild thing. It's a skeleton with the showbiz bug for sure. I mean, look at the hat, the top hat and tails. There are footlights at the bottom of this thing, and once you get them going, it's kind of hard to stop them.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss, my wife. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me.
Anyway, you can probably imagine that this goes on.
So you walk into a store and you see this and think, I have to have this.
This was an odd thing that I found at this place in Washington, D.C. in the DuPont Circle area, a place called the Mansion on O. And the place it's a wonderland of, it's two buildings that have been put together, and they have all these theme hotel rooms you can stay in. And also it's run by a guy who's quite the rock and roll archivist, his own self, and his wife. And these guys, have a lot of square footage, and there are a lot of shelves and tons of like artifacts that you can look through and purchase. Everything from like crazy mugs to like signed instruments to this. The last time I was there was a pool table for sale. There was a Beatles Wurlitzer jukebox, which is an amazing find. Those are super rare. Just all kinds of really cool stuff. I think the shower curtain from the movie Psycho is there. You can probably purchase, and everything is priced according to how amazing it is. So, be prepared.
How much you'd pay for that little thing there?
Oh, this was probably, $25 or something.
Okay.
$50.
Hey, what I do, Will, at the beginning, I talked to, or at least I mentioned some of the comments that have come up, and we start with a woman by the name of Keely Ann. She's the first one in every week, and her comment is, Alan, can we put her up? I saw her come on. She came on earlier and it got bounced out, but then she came back. And there she is. I've been good this year, but my schnauzer's on Santa's naughty list. Well, that'll happen. You got to be careful. And I want to read some. Alan, what should we do? I want to look at some comments through the screen door. Should we come back to that later after I talk to Will?
Yeah, they'll hold.
Yeah, he's on a time crunch, so I wanted to get into everything with Will. And one of the things we talked about before we came on here was your massive guitar collection. Now, if you don't know, Will was with the Paul Schaefer band through the whole run of the David Letterman show. And how many of you were original along with Paul? Made it from the beginning to the end?
That was just me and Paul.
That was it, really? That changed with everybody else?
Remember, it started out as a quartet anyway, and it ended up as a, octet at least, 5 rhythm, I think, and 3 horns, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, it really doubled in size, to accommodate Dave's wishes, which is what he wanted to have. What he wanted to have was a much more prime time kind of band when we went to an earlier time slot over at CBS.
Okay.
So yeah, so Paul and I stayed. Steve Jordan went on to do big things. He's now the Rolling Stones drummer, and among other things, produces a lot of records and stuff. Hiram Bullock is no longer with us, but he was an incredible guitar player in the very beginning of the show.
Okay, what I want to also address as far as the Letterman show, recently there was a posting on YouTube of you talking about some of your highlights from that run on Letterman. And one of the things that really caught my ear, you and the other band members had earpieces and microphones so you could talk to each other while the show's going on. And Paul would use that device to tell you which of the celebrities came out had hairpiece.
Right. Well, that's not really the main reason why we had it, but that became one of the most important reasons to have it.
Right.
Of course, you know, I think the main reason that we needed to have a thing like that was so that, you know, this 8-piece band spread across a lot of the stage over there. You know, we had to call a lot of audibles, and instead of screaming and yelling at each other and having anything that was loud enough for the audience to hear. We got this really cool system where we're on in-ear monitors with microphones, so we could just basically think out loud, and everybody could hear our little jokes we were making the whole time. But that was one of the cool things. Paul's father, Bernie Schaefer, was a great guy, and he had this crazy inherent ability to spot, you know, follically challenged people that came on TV or even in a room of people, and he would always point out, "Oh my God, look at this guy's hairpiece!" You know, it's just like, is anybody supposed to believe that? You know, and Paul, and I think Paul inherited this gift, so he would call out things that we would never notice.
Are there any celebrities that we would not be sure have a hairpiece that you could say, "Yeah, that's a hairpiece"?
All of them.
All of them have hairpieces. All of them.
Yeah. Every celebrity has a hairpiece.
Every celebrity, every male celebrity.
And
Brad
female.
Pitt, and female.
And female.
Pitt,
I've come
Julia
to the
Roberts.
Oh, you should see the work on. No.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
not
going to say Ben Affleck. That's a hairpiece. And Bradley Cooper, I think, has one. I'm just guessing.
His beard is a merkin. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Who's this?
Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Mr. Affleck.
The other things that you have brought up on,
good at this.
on that YouTube piece, some of your favorite moments were when James Brown came out.
Absolutely number one musical moment for us in the band was James Brown. The first time he came on, and it was spectacular. It was the first year of the show, and Dave was starting to get really hot, and James was all about, you know, he had heard us do our instrumental versions of his songs. So that was like a thing that really attracted him because the band was kind of smoking, if I may say so myself. We were having a really good time playing music that we were super into and comfortable playing. It wasn't like the Tonight Show. It wasn't like we were playing jazz anymore. Now we're playing like recognizable, you know, for the most part, songs by James Brown himself, the Beatles, the Stones, you know, Motown, and instrumentally. And it was all feeling pretty good to most of the audience because the band was, you know, made up of these super great players. So he felt comfortable about coming on. And, you know, at one point we had finished all of the things that we had rehearsed with James, which were two feature numbers. And then going into one of the commercials, he heard us playing another one of his songs, and he got so excited about it, he wanted to play it with us. So as something that had never happened before and never happened since was we did 3 feature songs that night. And one of them was completely spontaneous because of James Brown's excitement about hearing us do it, doing one of his and wanting to do it with us. So that was like the primo moment for music for me, for the Letterman, the whole history of the show.
And what was that song, that third song he did?
The unrehearsed one, it was I Got the Feeling. I got the feeling. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have to believe that when Paul McCartney came on, you being the huge Beatles fan that you are, and in a group called the Fab Faux that replicates the music with such reverence, that had to be, what are you drinking?
Well, you think you guys are drinking some wild stuff. Look at this thing. Can you see that?
Something's
Can you
flashing.
see the optical illusion my green glass is creating here? This is crazy.
Yeah. What is that?
Whoa. And wait a second. If you look closely through the green glass, I think you can see the inside of Abbey Road Studio 2.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
There's going
There
up.
it is.
Don't ask me how this is happening, but this is a magical moment here at Garry Meier show.
All right.
GarrForce.
And you played there.
Absolutely. Right? Got a chance to record at Abbey Road Studio 2, where the Beatles made all that magic.
How was it to be in there? Is the vibe still as strong as it was 60 years ago?
Not only is it, your mind goes crazy because you know a lot about the history. If you're a Beatleist, as I kind of am, you look around the room and you recognize everything because you've seen it a million times in photos and things like that. But there were still instruments in there, like the piano from Martha, My Dear was in there. The piano from Out of College, Money Spent, See No Future, Pay No Rent. That tic-tacky sounding piano that was in there. And it was mind-boggling to they have an echo. They have a what they call an echo chamber there. It's one of those reverb rooms. Now it's everything's just digital now and software and all that stuff. But in the old days, you had a room that created reverb by putting mics in a reflective room where the sound kind of bounced around inside the space. And you could send instruments to that. You could send a feed of the instrument that you wanted to have reverb into that room, and it would come back sounding echoey, whether it was guitar or your vocals while you're singing or any other kind of cool stuff that you wanted to have, like that sound of space coming back at you. So we got to hang out in that little echo chamber to see what it was all made out of. And it was really cool. It's just a white painted little room with some columns, and some microphones in it. But we weren't really allowed to use it most of the time that we were in there because Paul McCartney and George Martin were upstairs. They were remixing some songs for the Beatles anthology at the time, if I remember. And they were creating certain mixes and 5.1 things. And we didn't have access to that room because they were plugged into using that room when we were in there for most of the time until Sir Paul needed to go on an interview break or something. Then we could plug into it. And as soon as you did, I swear the sound that you heard of your instruments going through that system, it was instant Beatle record. There's something about that studio that's got the magic.
Every night when you went on stage at the Ed Sullivan Theater, that's
Yes.
the orb there. That's where it started for those of us in America. That's how we were introduced to the Beatles. And every night you walked into that space, and that had to be pretty amazing in itself.
Yes, like a holy cathedral, like a chapel of loveliness. Yeah.
And you were
right.
telling me before the show went on that you gave Paul one of your guitars, and you showed me. We were talking about different makes of basses. The Hofner bass that Paul plays and was the first one we saw him use in America and beyond. You have several Hofner basses, and you showed me one. Do you have that nearby?
I have a Hofner bass that I use for recording and stuff. It's one of the classic things, and this was when you think about what this thing is. It's kind of beautiful and all that stuff, but honestly, it's not the most precise piece of musical gear you can own. It's kind of crude in a few ways. Like parts of it at the end here, the bridge pieces are made out of the same thing as the fret wires. It's very basic in certain ways, except it was made by a violin company, and that's why it looks like this, which is really fortunate for a guy like Paul McCartney, being a left-handed musician. it didn't look weird in his hands. It's all symmetrical, no matter how you hold it. So it ended up being kind of advantageous for him. And the reason he claims to have bought it was that it was, in his words, 50 quid, which is very cheap.
Wow.
Right.
And
so
still plays one to this day.
And they had a lot of magic. And the reason that they had a lot of magic is because a guy who was a genius pumped a lot of magic into this sort of crude, not precise instrument. And now it's kind of a go-to for a lot of people to want to get a certain sound out of.
Tell me about that guitar you gave to Paul, although that wasn't the deal initially. He wanted to borrow one, and then you wanted to sign it, and then what happened?
I got a call that Paul was looking for the word was out that I had this old vintage left-handed one of those Hofner basses. That's a regular right-handed one. But Paul is a lefty, and he knew about the bass that I had, and he had to do a one-off at some point around here in the New York area where I am. And he didn't have his main instrument with him, and he didn't have a spare that he traveled with or even had close to him. But he and another guy who's a producer named David Kahn were aware of this one left-handed bass that I had, and he wanted to see if he could borrow it from. And that said, total honor. Are you kidding me? I mean, Paul McCartney is my idol. So of course. So for years, I'd had it strung up so a right-handed bass player could play it. So while his guy was on his way in to pick it up, I did something I normally hate doing, and that is changing strings. So this gave me the greatest pleasure to take the bass kind of apart and string it back for the left-handed guy named Paul McCartney to play this instrument. And all I really asked in return was, besides, the fact that I was already happy to loan it to my idol, was, would you please sign the bass? Would you mind signing it? I put a note in the case. Well, the case didn't come back and the bass didn't come back. And I was a little kind of wary, okay, so the bass didn't come back. I wasn't really worried, but I was kind of puzzled because we had an arrangement that it was going to come back the next morning after he used it for this one-off that he was doing. All of a sudden, the phone rings, and it's this producer, David Kahn, on behalf of Paul McCartney, saying, listen, Paul's fallen in love with that bass, wants to know if you'll sell it. And that's something I'd never thought about. I'm not a salesman or anything. I don't know anything about selling. I usually spend all my money buying basses. Okay, so let me talk it over with my wife. And I of course I'd have to replace it with something because it's an instrument that I use all the time. So we came up with something, kind of a price, I guess, and I called the guy back. I said, yeah, we came up with something. And he said, oh, great, Paul will call you in a couple of hours. Great. So sure enough, the phone rings in a couple of hours, and we have this great conversation, and we're making some great small talk. Paul is gets us on this even keel, oh, it's great what you and I do. We go out and play for people for a couple of hours and make people happy every night. It's a wonderful thing. It's a good thing, babe, all this stuff. And we're talking small talk. We're talking about how the Hofners, they don't make them like they used to, which is true. The electronics have apparently changed. I mean, Paul has access to every Hofner he could ever want because, in my opinion, and probably anybody else who thinks about it, the company is still alive because of that one person. But they're not making basses like they used to exactly. They're probably cutting corners and stuff. Anyway, we get the small talk out of the way, and I finally come up with, my wife and I came up with the price and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, that's great. I'll tell you what, my money guy will call you and you guys work it out. Okay, great. Hang up the phone. And I'm having dinner with a friend that night. And my friend says, I'm telling him the whole story, and I get to the thing about the price, and he goes, hey, wait a minute. It'd be really cool if you just gave it to him. and a light bulb went off over my head. And I thought, oh man, this is, of course, why was I thinking about asking him for money? I owe him everything. He's my college. He's my inspiration and my idol and all this stuff. So I texted Paul back to say, can we have one more conversation about that bass? And he goes, sure thing. I'll call you first thing in the morning. So next morning, sure enough, the phone rings and I say, look, man, I can't take any money from you for this bass. I want you to have it. It's a gift from me to you, please. And he goes, oh, no. Take the money, baby. At this point, he's on my wife's side. He's really being so sweet about it. And I said, no, man, look, I just can't, I just want you to have it, enjoy it. And thank you for everything you've ever done, and all that kind of stuff.
And your marriage ended shortly thereafter, Will?
And yes, I'm still looking for a bride to replace. No, actually what ended up happening was, he was so kind. He sent enough money for me to get another one. So
it's a win-win. Although you didn't get what you wanted and the price your wife wanted, you still got something. And you gave Paul McCartney a guitar.
And now I have one that's right-handed. I can actually play it better.
There. Good. Everything worked out. I know you have to run in a few minutes. Fab Faux still touring a lot, or what's the status of your band?
We're touring less and enjoying it more. We are not tying up every weekend of the whole year each year with dates. So we're kind of picking and choosing like the better gigs, and doing those. And I have
a chance, ladies and gentlemen, like Beatles music, you have to see the Fab Faux. It's not with the wigs and the costumes. It's just paying homage to the music in a way you've not seen before.
And I think the reason that you might be able to say that is that our goal was always to bring the records to the stage, not to pretend to be the Beatles or anything like that. So we were just fascinated by all the beautiful, tone colors and things and all the details of the records. So that's been our focus for the last 25 years, is to really bring the records to the stage.
Here's a moment when I saw you guys doing Sgt. Pepper. You would do, and still probably do, all album sides in order, all that kind of thing. And the songs that George did with the sitar, your band member learned the sitar to play those, and the sitar in person is hypnotic. I mean, we were too young to really appreciate that instrument when those records came out. But I'll tell you what, watching you guys play and him playing the sitar, it's mesmerizing.
Yeah, it's kind of a magical thing. It's funny how the sitar had been around for so long, right? And what did we know about the sitar before the Beatles came around? That's another one of the things that they introduced to us, through George and his love of Indian music. But honestly, I'd never heard of any. I think I'd never heard any Indian music until the Beatles.
Right.
So
who's the band member? Who's the band member that plays it?
That was Jimmy Vivino.
Yeah.
So
he learned this instrument to play those songs.
Yes. And what's funny about that? You can't just get a sitar and play all those Beatles songs, because every one of the Beatles songs that contains a sitar track are all in different keys, and sitars only play in a key. So you have to have a different sitar for each one of those songs.
Wow.
So Norwegian Wood gets one sitar.
Yeah.
Within You, Without You gets another sitar. Love You Too, that's a completely different sitar.
And he has all of them.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah. Wow. That's
if you're going to do the catalog, yeah.
That's what you do. Okay, in the remaining couple minutes here, I wanted to talk to you a couple years ago about the documentary Get Back, and you were busy, so we finally are here now. Your thoughts on that documentary? I was just blown away.
Well, first of all, God, I can't tell you how much I appreciate Peter Jackson's incredible dedication and work that he put into making this a completely different focus than the first thing that was called Let It Be, that was made from the same footage that he had, except it totally pointed the camera toward way more negative stuff that was happening. And I don't know why, but everything about the first production of the movie that was called Let It Be, that I'm sure the Beatles were not very proud of, really just had a feel of like doomsday and negativity and anger and just bad lighting, and I don't know how they were able to transform something that was so hard to watch into something that was so much fun to watch. Peter Jackson and his team. But they gave us like all the great, camaraderie that was happening between the guys in the band, and all the fun, intimate moments, and the little snippets of music that was to come later from the Beatles through their solo albums. You heard little bits of stuff that was going to end up on Paul's solo album, John's solo album, and all that stuff. And I just loved it, man. I couldn't get enough.
Yeah, it would be like we got to sit in a recording session with the Beatles. It would be like watching the Wright brothers invent the airplane. It was, to me, that impactful.
Yes, it was fascinating, right?
Yeah. I mean, you saw the process from the embryonic stages, and then what we heard years later as classics, and we saw it being born. That's pretty amazing. Okay, I know you got to run, Will. Always a pleasure. And
Garry, can't thank you enough, man.
Hey, happy Merry Christmas.
You too.
Whatever you celebrate. Thank you.
Enjoy your cocktails. I'm going to enjoy my view of the
Abbey Road cocktail. All right. Will Lee, thank you. All right. Leslie.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, love that guy.
This is one of those interviews that could go on for 2 hours.
Well,
I'm sorry. We'll have to have him back more often. That would be really nice. The stories are incredible.
Spoiler alert, next Friday, I'm going to have a man on by the name of Timmy Shawn, and we're going to continue this Beatles talk because of what Timmy did with the latest Beatles song. He rearranged it in his feeling of what it should have been. And we've all said, those of us on the show that have heard it, we like it better than what Paul McCartney did. And I had not heard, and I asked Will before he went on if he had heard of this Timmy Shawn, and he has not. I didn't know of him until a listener, Jeff, turned me on to him, and I thought, wow, who is this guy? Next Friday, which happens to be the anniversary of Lennon's death, maybe we can make a little better feeling out of that moment by listening to Timmy Shawn. And that's next Friday.
And no offense to Paul McCartney. Here he's a really stand-up guy who's willing to pay for basses that he uses. But that version that he put together has a later Beatles feel, that more psychedelic era. The one Timmy put together,
right?
Yeah, the one that Timmy did is definitely more that 60s,
64,
upbeat.
65. Right.
Yeah.
That real Beatles-esque, oh my God, who are these guys? He captured that, and we'll analyze
British
that
invasion feel. Yeah. So very cool.
And if that isn't enough, Jenna Duddleston, the official bartender of the GarrForce, will be on next Friday with her December holiday drink. How about that?
Will she make Santa pee-pee wine? Can she make?
Okay. Are you ready for a refill? Is he
I'm always
out?
ready for a refill. Come on. It's Friday. It's what I do.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We should probably set up the giveaway because it's nice to do that early in the show.
Then Alan will go to the comments, and I'll pull the screen door out and do that. And what is in the fun bag?
Well, it starts with a fun bag. I think that's the nicest way to do that, and that's another backpack from our friends at Buddy Bear Car Wash. Another pink backpack. To go with that, I've thrown in a little pink nail clipper. Ooh, doesn't that look nice? We've got some bendables from Tracy from Wisconsin, the same one who made Pee-Pee Santa appear at my house. Let's see what else we got here. We've got some swag from our friends at Oh Yes, our house band. So we've got a koozie and some bracelets from them. We've got, let's see, a doggy bag from Scott's Vintage Antiques and Collectibles. I'm pretty sure this is from Scott. It might have been from Stick Save, but we've got some wacky zappy gum the snap gum that you remember from your youth. Of course, there's always a ball liquor. There's the super cool refrigerator magnets that our friend Ellen had made for us.
Yes.
Ooh, it's official. And the prize that started it all, the wine condom. So that's a hell of a prize package. And in honor of our guest, Will Lee, the finest bassist you're going to find around, we are going hashtag no treble, because it's all about the bass, the bass, no treble. So there you go.
Okay, and that Buddy Bear backpack that you're giving away, Buddy Bear Car Washes in Chicago sponsor all the music heard on the GarrForce. Give your car a bear hug if you're in the Chicago area. And thanks to George Bliss, who is the community guy. He goes out and gets everybody happy about Buddy Bear and makes Buddy Bear part of the community. And he's a good guy. And he's
a brand ambassador.
Yes, he is.
If this week's winner is in the Chicago area, I'll throw in a free Buddy Bear car wash. How's that?
Look at you.
Look at that. We're going to make it even more special.
Going back to that Pee-Pee Santa, we've been talking about the 10-foot tall skeletons.
Santa.
They should come up with a 10-foot tall Pee-Pee Santa, and then people could come by and press a button and have Santa pee eggnog into a cup or something.
I knew it was going to be eggnog, and I'm thinking,
what?
That's, I mean.
Hey, I'm looking at a 10-foot tall Santa.
Well, I'm thinking the yellow wine looks natural, but if he's
but eggnog is the season. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
I know.
You press a button. There's a 10-foot tall Santa peeing into a glass. Nice.
Nothing says the birth of our Savior like, yes.
That's right.
Things like this.
Okay. That's on a pedestal and everything. That is quite elaborate.
Yeah, he's quite, it's beautiful, this decanter. I'll be using that all throughout the holiday season. It's going to be hard to see him go back into one of those red and green bins at the end of this holiday, but once again, hashtag no trouble. You guys seem to be catching on quite nicely. So
now, Alan, can we go and get comments? Or is that
sure? There are lots and lots of them.
Is that it?
That
it?
There we are.
That's it. Okay, got it. All right. Where do you want to start? We did Leanne, and you put it up, and I'll read them. Martin, British Columbia. Martin's here every week. Always appreciate his attendance. And Brian from Oh Yes. Yeah, Will Lee is the GOAT of bass players. Brian in the house band Oh Yes. And the band will be playing a Christmas song in the next few weeks on the Cocktail Show. Yeah, we're lining that up right now. So you'll see Oh Yes before the end of the year. Thanks, Brian. Greg, Decula, Georgia. Is it Dacula? We don't care. It's Georgia. And Samantha, checking in. Mocktail of orange and cranberry juice. That's a drink every week. Hi, GarrForce. Hello. David R. Outside in the cold, dark and wet weather. No place to keep the schnauzer. Bring it inside. And what should you do with it inside? Well, Dale from Wheatfield, Indiana, the Wander State. And Kevin, burning leaves almost as big as a tire fire.
Oh,
giving Garry a pre-birthday shot. Yeah, that like the yard stuff. Anything yard, I love.
Got to do it now before it gets moist. Yeah, you don't want to try lighting them.
Then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Lloydster having some COVID issues. Get well,
no.
Lloydster. Damn.
Sorry.
It's lingering. And Deb checking in for cocktails. That's good. Frankfort, Illinois, Stick Save, my former hometown. And Tracy, there she is, from Racine, Wisconsin. Lovely fall day there. Now, Ryan was saying that there's some snow coming down in Waukesha.
That's the word. And Ryan wouldn't lie to us because he's our Wisconsin reporter.
No, he's very honest. And Ryan, are you there?
I am. It was supposed to be rain, and it turned into snow. So it was a slick drive into the studio here. So
snow.
And I'm not ready for December. I don't know how it's
really.
December
You're not. Well, it's too late.
No.
It's here. This is the first day of meteorological winter. This is it.
Right.
I go with this. First day of December through February. That's winter. And this is going to get to heavy setting, or maybe we'll get a pass. We don't know yet. The first 2 weeks I have calculated. I don't have any scientific evidence, but I use the first 2 weeks of a season to tell me how the whole season's going to go. Starting off in at least Wisconsin on a wintry note.
And Hank's birthday's the 21st, so he'll say it's the darkest day, the winter solstice. So that's coming up. So,
right, in 3 weeks, lengthening daylight.
Yes.
Woohoo!
God.
Okay.
Pee-pee Santa, give me some more.
Refill.
Wow.
Refill, Leslie. Refill it.
My God, you're running him dry.
I was going to say in a little while he's going to look like this.
Yeah. He's spent. Okay, we have a video to play. George Bliss sent you a video of Leslie,
and I guess it's supposed to be Leslie and Johnny flying, or Johnny in a helicopter, or I'll play it here.
Johnny from Michigan.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It's George put it together.
It's a George fantasy, Gary.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So who needs psychedelics when you've got George's fantasy?
I'll get the top to the CB-17 gets on the ground.
Is that you, Leslie?
It is not. Oh, well, for this, I mean, for our drug-fueled fantasy, yes, it's absolutely me.
Okay.
No, you can tell. Oh. You can tell it's not a.
Okay.
Okay.
I see what's
you
going
can
on
tell
here.
it's not a helicopter I flew in, because the ones I flew in were very teeny tiny, including the one that had a forced landing during the Larry Lujak show on WLS. Oh, that's very close. This, I'm getting nervous.
So there
Did
it is.
George put that together, or did that?
I think he
happen
put that
for-
together. I think he put that together.
Yeah, because I don't think they'd allow a helicopter and a plane to go that close to each other for an air show.
No, that's it.
Although
George
we've
was
seen,
special.
I mean, I think some people, in the same way people go to demolition derbies to see the crashes, people go to air shows to see malfunctions.
Yes.
Oh, and we've got some stories about malfunctions coming up in the show.
Well, George, he has a very vivid imagination. Look what I got. I got an advent calendar today for my wife. So the first door is open.
Does it have chocolate in it?
Chocolates. Yeah.
I thought maybe it was a booze one.
Yeah,
I was thinking that maybe Pfizer or Moderna should put together one where every day it's one of their products.
Might
You
as
do
well
it-
at this
it's like
point.
Jim Morrison version.
Okay.
I don't know. Today's a green one.
We're just workshopping stuff. We got the 10-foot tall pee-pee
Throw it out
Santa
Eggnog.
with eggnog
with
coming
eggnog
out.
coming out. Yeah.
Ooh, Papa. And what else is going on with you, Ryan? You've got an official report that's been
I
recorded,
do, and I have
right?
some pictures too. So I
Okay,
don't know how
here's
you-
what we're going to do. Let's take care of some biz. And that would be the fine sponsors of GarrForce, starting off with Bentonhausen Automotive.
The green flag is up, and we are rounding turn 1 on our new Lockport location. Look for Bettenhausen's new state-of-the-art facility opening spring of 2024. For your immediate vehicle needs, find what others already know. It's better at Bettenhausen. Your best car buying experience starts at Bettenhausen on 159th Street in Tinley Park. Bettenhausen, the Midwest's highest volume dealer, has over 400 new vehicles to choose from. Shop now at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
Yeah. And if you don't live in the Chicago area and they're looking for a new car, see if they can ship in the continental United States. I've got relatives, they checked out the prices at their local dealer, and they don't live anywhere near Illinois. And they thought, wow, I can't pass up this deal. Got it shipped. Saw them over Thanksgiving. They're loving their Jeep. Love it. Okay. You're looking for a mortgage? And here's the guy. He knows all about this stuff. And I know there's a lot of fugazi out there with the economy, and we're going into an election year, and that always sets people off. But don't let that stuff spook you. Talk to David. He has a free consultation available, and he'll tell you what's what. And then hopefully you'll do business with Team Hochberg. There are numbers right there. He's seen it all. He said 08, the meltdown of 08 was the worst he's ever seen it. And we got through that. And he got people through that.
Well,
David Hochberg.
and he's got plans for getting us through this one, because they were saying that housing sales right now are just like flatlining. On top of that, saw a story this week that Jeff Bezos is buying up millions of or thousands of houses, and that he is somehow going to put his thumb on the scale of the housing market with the leverage that he is creating. So, hey, isn't that exciting? Because like he's done nothing to change sales in America today. So
because he's not rich enough, he needs to find other money.
You know what? I mean, seriously,
Really?
Jeff. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got, yeah.
He just docked his 417-foot long ship in Miami. He's moving down there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's his girlfriend and then a crew of about 10 just burning fuel and killing the environment because he can.
Uh-huh.
Because a 300-foot ship wouldn't do it.
Nice trucks too. So it's
What's that?
cool. He's got all those really nice trucks on the road these days. Oh boy, I mean, that fleet is just mind-boggling.
Yeah. Look out the window. There's an Amazon truck going by right now. I guarantee it somewhere.
So
okay. I thought having the most money was the penis extender. Why do you need a 417-foot long ship?
I don't.
Okay.
Maybe, well, he's got the spaceship, and he, if you even watch the launch that he did with William Shatner, you could tell it was killing him that the Shatman was getting more attention than he was.
Really? How much is enough?
Exactly.
Yeah, and let's shape it like this too. Okay.
Yeah, that's so. Jeff. Anyway.
Oh, Ryan. We just want to have a good time and live our little lives.
You want to do some pictures?
What do you want to do first? Your reporter
let's
pictures?
Do some pictures. Let's do some
Okay, pictures first. What do you got?
This was the one you sent me.
Okay. I was sent this by Doggy Boy, and he said he showed it to some people and they didn't get it. That song,
Jesus Take the Wheel.
Take the Wheel.
Right.
And Jesus took the wheel. Now they want it back.
Oh.
That's what that is.
Right.
Okay.
Also, Jesus, I believe, says keep your hands at
10 and
3
2.
and 9, and yeah, pay attention and yeah.
Right. Jesus is busy. He can't handle everything. My friend Roberto sent me this picture, and we were talking about a way to remove tree stumps without getting the stump remover, the grinder, renting that. People in his neighborhood, they just took the stump and made something out of it. Okay, that's a good option.
That's actually better than the one in my neighborhood where they just cut notches into it and tried to make it into a planter.
Yeah, this is better. It's more, it's got a roof on it and everything. And and that was on my blog, the previous one, the penultimate one. The one right now, the theme is Hamas, George Carlin, and The Godfather. Hamas, George Carlin, and The Godfather. If you want to check out my blog at GarryMeier.com in my Out of the Mind section.
Wonderful wino.
Okay, look at this. Speaking of Amazon, you think this is legit? I don't know what's fake, what's real anymore.
Wait, yeah, the chair is only $299. It's going to cost you $8,000 to fill it, though, right?
And
maybe not.
You never have to go out and buy wine again after you fill this thing. This is a lifetime supply of wine.
We don't suggest you fill it with boxed wines because that's going to be lumpy. So
okay. All right. And okay, this is that gripe about get the skeleton back in the box. Christmas is here. But some people think, well, I'll leave it up and then I'll just have the skeleton putting up Christmas lights and then I can leave that up all year.
Didn't you see somebody with a skeleton having improper relations with a turkey in their yard? Was it a
Brian?
turkey or a pilgrim? I thought
Oh, it
you
was
said.
a skeleton was trying to kill a inflatable turkey. That was.
Oh, that's what it
yeah.
was.
Oh, yeah. The skeleton had a knife, and it was behind an inflatable turkey the day after Thanksgiving. All that needs to be put away. The skeleton, too. You're not going to get a pass because it's putting up Christmas lights.
Yeah. Not relations with the turkey, trying to kill the
next thing you know, it's kneeling down to baby Jesus. Okay, this is interesting. People are using this as an anti-theft feature in their car. So they put that mask over the headrest and a sweatshirt around the seat, and it looks like somebody's sitting in there.
And I have a better one too. I saw also. Here's how they do it. There you go. That looks like
I mean, it's kind of like somebody sitting there
in a parking garage, maybe.
Okay.
Right.
Put the inflatable snake on the seat. See how that works first.
There you go. And this is the last one since it was December 1st. Today, if you participate in Elf on a Shelf, our elf came out and was naughty and toilet papered the bathroom. So that's what Jake woke up to.
I thought the elves were just Santa's narcs.
Well, they are, but they can be a little crazy too. So we got a little toilet paper action going on this morning.
So the elf did that.
Yes, the
more sense after you see the Wisconsin report.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Next message, the elf is telling you to behave. You know, if you want to get stuff from Santa, I'm watching you, kid. But no,
there you go. That's it.
All right, let's see the official report now, Alan.
Wisconsin, hey.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan from Wisconsin. Are you ready for winter? Well, guess what? December's here. In Waukesha recently, someone dropped off an Ice Princess carriage in the local Panera parking lot. It's not drivable, as you say here in the picture. There's no engine, and it just sat there for 3 or 4 days before a tow truck came along and scooped it up. Maybe they were going to film one of those Christmas Hallmark movies in Waukesha and decided, hey, Wisconsin's too weird, and moved on. If you like the movie Elf, there's a bar in Bayview that's changed the interior to reflect the movie. Cutouts of Will Ferrell, drinks from the movie, but it's for a limited time only, so you want to check it out soon. Finally, as we talk about time passing, it's been 2 years since the Waukesha Parade tragedy. This week, they installed a little memorial in downtown Waukesha in remembrance of the event and all the people that perished. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, Ryan, his wife, and Hank were at that parade, and your wife, Jamie, and Hank were 6 inches from that car that barreled down the street.
They were, and it's still vivid in their memory, even though it's 2 years ago.
Yeah, listen, that's one of those things that is there forever.
Yeah, that's not going away.
And I'm not sure about that Ice Princess carriage in the Panera parking lot. That had a lot of people confused. It was all over the news. As I said, it sat there for 2 or 3 days and then disappeared with a tow truck.
In the Panera parking lot, I don't understand the tie-in.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Nobody understood the tie-in.
Nobody threw anything at you this week. Nobody.
No, but I was at
I
was at a lunch counter. Nobody there. Guess where the person sat? Right next to me.
You are a kook magnet. I swear to God. And I saw it firsthand. We went out to lunch.
Yep, and it happened the same thing.
Completely empty restaurant. 30, 40 tables, and the people chose the table right behind us.
Yep. That's because you all give off a good vibe. Take it that
Maybe
way.
that's everybody wants to be in our circle.
Right? Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep. See you later.
And Leslie, you got a couple stories before we give stuff away?
I do. Well, let's talk about that Santa. Apparently, someone in Kentucky hates Christmas inflatables more than even you, Garry. A man in Lexington is putting out a warning to neighbors in light of his large inflatable Santa becoming the victim of a drive-by shooting. Just days after Donald Nelson put up the $200 lawn decoration, he and his wife were sitting in their living room when they heard what they described as a small bang outside. Nelson went out to investigate and found Santa laying deflated with an 18-inch bullet hole ripped right through him. There is surveillance video of the incident, but it's not clear enough to identify the shooter. Mr. Nelson, however, is undeterred. He says that a neighbor has offered to stitch Santa up so he can be reinflated and returned to his spot on the Nelsons' front lawn.
Well, I'm not calling for violence. I don't like them, but Jesus.
Exactly. We can mock, but we do not destroy.
Hey, Leslie, did you see Brian Sheridan's comment about that carriage in the Panera parking lot? Maybe David Muir will cover that on his nightly news, because that was about the caliber of the news stories
Right.
he likes.
With everything else going on, Sandra Day O'Connor has passed away. But I
when
mean,
you heard that,
old age.
okay, the same thing with Henry Kissinger. Those are people that I thought had died years ago already.
Mm. So, and it seems to be overshadowed by all sorts of other things, including
Really?
an inflatable getting shot in Kentucky. That's the important story.
So
By
it
the
should
way,
be,
Scott
wait a
Brown,
minute.
it's
It
just
should be
no
Sandra-
trouble.
Leslie, it should be Sandra Good Day O'Connor.
Good day, O'Connor.
Good day.
Let's see what else we have for you. What did we tease this morning? Oh yeah, Seinfeld wrapped up production 25 years ago, and yet Festivus lives on. For the 8th year in a row, the Tampa Bay Times is giving the fictional holiday a platform for one of Festivus's central themes, the airing of grievances. Readers are being invited to share their gripes, peeves, and complaints for the entertainment of others. Submissions must be received by December 7th and will be published in the coming weeks. So isn't that just special?
Yeah. All right.
And then I'm sure this is going to make Alan's skin crawl, but it's kind of cute, actually. Something went terribly wrong at the happiest place on earth this week, and it was caught on video. Guests visiting the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Disney World seemed generally amused at the scene that played out when it appeared that Dopey was caught dancing around with Snow White's severed arm. How these animatronics works, it's up to the Imagineers. But anyway, it appeared that Snow White's arm became detached from her body. I don't know how that happened, but it did end up dangling from Dopey's right hand as the two danced around the dwarves' cottage to the Silly Song from the 1937 animated version of Snow White.
Alan, you have any input on that?
Nope.
No, he
That's
does
it.
not.
That's
Okay.
it.
All right.
So accidents happen, things go haywire, and they're really good at taking care of those things very quickly so as to maintain the magic.
Considering all the moving parts at the parks,
Exactly.
very little ever goes wrong.
And it is a well-oiled machine in this case that still has them dancing around with poor Snow White's arm, just a dangling from Dopey's hand.
All
That's
right.
why they called him Dopey.
Is that it?
I think that should be enough, don't you?
I think so too. And we are going to highlight the final dog of 2023 in the projectk9hero.org calendar. And I know, Alan, you sent me that because that text is too small to read on the screen there.
Well, the name seems very apropos since all of
Can
the
you
dogs
read it,
live
Leslie?
here. I cannot. Only that his name is Grimm, and that has been the theme
Oh, wait a
of
minute.
this
Here we
year's
go.
calendar.
K9 Grimm served with the Chesterfield County, South Carolina Sheriff's Office for 5 years as a dual-purpose patrol narcotics K9. In the prime of his career, Grimm was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, which forced him to retire medically from service, placing all of the financial burden of the treatment on his handler. Project K9 Hero covered his medical bills at 100% for nearly 2 years, allowing his family to extend their time with their hero. And K9 Grimm's end of watch was January 20th of 2022. And if you're not familiar with Project K9 Hero, Jason Johnson has a sanctuary in Tennessee. You have to get that? And
No, we're good.
he takes these dogs in that retire from the TSA and police departments and military, and cares for them for the remainder of their lives if he can't get them adopted out. So it's an amazing thing that he does. And if you can contribute, he's got a lot of different things you can buy that help keep the sanctuary going. And that is a great cause. All right.
Thank you, Greg, for noticing that I changed up the lighting. I did a little backlighting. You know, my time at Columbia College was not wasted. I paid attention to some of those things. So
when do the holiday lights go up?
Very soon, I hope. I'm having some conflicts right now with that whole Christmas decorating thing. Best of times.
This is going to be a tough year.
This is going to be a weird one.
Leslie, I'd like to hear your human feeling response to the passing of your husband. We got the top of the hour news track.
Oh, there we go.
You cannot interfere with that.
We have priorities around here. That's how all these stations work.
Doesn't matter.
Nope.
Got a format.
Got a break.
Got a break. Okay, here we go. Ellen, you ready to hit the button? You have music?
It's all about the bass, No. It's all about the bass, No.
So, who's going to win that prize package? Who's going to take home the Scott Brown? All right, Scott. Alan, tell Scott what to do.
Scott, send your mailing address to Garry Meier Show at GarryMeier.com or text 773-888-2157. Regular charges apply. And Leslie will gather that stuff up and send it out to you. Let her know if you're in Chicagoland for that car wash. Because at this time of the year in Chicago, you want to get your car washed.
Yeah.
It's killing me that I can't wash my beautiful car from Bentonhausen Automotive.
Where's Angry Mama? Hello, Mr. Letterman. Hello.
I like that skeleton guy. Where is he?
Yeah.
I'm all about the singing and the dancing.
All right. I think that's enough for this week. Hope you have a great weekend. And we're going to give out that cannoli right now. It's delicious. Please take it. It's complimentary. Delish. Going to be a lot of that in the next few weeks. And what about the Schnauzer?
Will Lee, part of the most dangerous band? Your Schnauzer should join one of those, because
join a dangerous band.
There you go.
Okay, there's your assignment. We'll talk to you on Monday. It's 3 in the green. Gear is down. It's 3 in the red and green now, all the month of December. Gear is down. Flaps are down. The Voice of the Globe, the GarrForce America's podcast has landed.
And that's it for all the news and nonsense here at the GarrForce.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the GarrForce.
Thanks for streaming. Like, subscribe, and be kind. But no need to rewind. It sure would be terrific if you subscribe to the GarrForce Live YouTube channel.
More eyeballs.
If you're watching this show recorded, that button is right here. And if you'd like to look at past episodes, try that button.
Boom. Shakalaka.
That's it.
Oh, I guess I'm alone again. All right, how do you shut this thing off?